Jim Remitz, number one item, proposed change order, our very first one. It's good to see you, Jim.
Nice to see you. Yeah, this is a change order to a project called the telemetry upgrade for the collection system. I can jog your memory what it's all about with a little slideshow if you're so inclined.
Guys, good. Give us a quickie.
Just a quickie, all right. The need was to replace programmable logic controllers, PLCs, upgrade the radio system, and enhance the SCADA, which is the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. That's what that acronym stands for. So we have 11 lift stations throughout the city, and they all communicate with our base plant at the wastewater treatment plant. And so each one of these telemetry panels are out in the system, and we're going to replace the PLCs and the radios and adjust the antennas so we have much better signals. That's kind of the architectural, what they call the architecture of it. There's the headquarters with all the various sewer lift stations throughout the city. That's what the typical telemetry panel looks like. It's got the PLC, the radio, some other gadgets. There's the antenna that's usually at each site, which communicates by radio waves to our base station at the wastewater treatment plant. So that is kind of just we bid this thing. We didn't get any bidders. So we went through a process of contacting 3 qualified contractors, of which we selected one, Power City Construction, or Electrical, Power City Electrical. And I think we entered into the agreement on April 24th with Power City. And since we've entered into the agreement, we've found that the PLCs that were specified in the project were already obsolete. They'll stop making them in December of this year. So under the advisement of our electrical engineer, Trindera, they recommended replacing them with an upgraded PLC. And part of the cost of this change order is for that. So the change order is for a total of $34,250, which would be added to project cost, which was $134,405, making the new contract $168,000.
Any questions, Kate?
Sure. So in your staff report, you did say there was a competitive bid process and then Power City Electric was selected, but what happened is you actually had the engineer submit the scope of work to 3 qualified, and they all submitted a price?
We only got a price from Power City Electric.
Okay.
They were the only ones that submitted a price quote back.
So it looks like what happened is the engineer overlooked the need for this PLC when that first went out to Power City?
No, we discovered that after the fact.
Okay.
After it was awarded.
And it was the engineer who discovered that?
It was actually the contractor that discovered that.
Okay.
His subcontractor that puts the panels together said, hey, this PLC that we spec'd, he called their factory and they said, well, we're stopping production on that model of PLC in December of 2018. So we thought it would be best to put in something a little more current than an obsolete PLC.
Okay. Just wanted to see that chain of events, to
Okay.
make sure I had that right.
Well, I just, having been involved in a lot of these projects over the year, I mean, the technology there, you know, there's kind of a myth that, oh boy, at some point we're going to be up to date and then we're good kind of forever. But that, something always comes up, so it sounds like, you know, if they caught a component that is going to be out of date, now's the time to probably get it done when they're messing with stuff. So anyway, I'm good.
Good.
So,
I have just a couple thoughts. So how long have we been using this system? Is this stuff pretty
Probably started maybe 20 years ago.
old? 20? And what did we do before that?
We have an older, kind of obsolete PLC in there. The brand name is Rugged, that we can't find anybody to work on them, because they were kind of a special type of PLC. And now that field, those PLCs have come together that almost anybody can work on these Allen Bradleys that we're specifying.
So these pumps that talk to each other, why do they talk to each other?
Well, they let the operators know when there's pump failure, the pumps don't start. And we get high levels, and that's pretty critical that the guys get out there and get those pumps started because we don't want to back the system up.
Gotcha.
But it gives the operators, through their SCADA program, all the monitoring and even some controls for the pumps.
Okay. Along that line, it just dawned on me when I was reading about failure, is the water system, the pumps and the wells and all their telecommunication, they just had a big failure.
Yes.
And it kind of kept tumbling down. Is there fail-safes in these newer systems that would probably not happen if it got hit by lightning or something strange like that? Do you know?
I don't know.
I mean, to put you on
I
the
don't-
spot.
I don't know, Woody, but I don't imagine that there's any kind of fail-safe that would make the pump run again. It's just, if a lightning strike is a kind of a special event, we would have to respond.
Because I always worry about technology when you see it fail, and you kind of go,
Yeah.
well, how did they do it before we had all the technology? They walked the streets, right?
Yeah, they drove around and checked those lift stations every day.
No, I know you're doing what you have to do, but we have to take our pokes while we got them. All right, look for a motion if there's no other questions.
Well, I would make a motion to send to council the approval of change order number 1 to the April 24th, 2018 agreement between the City of Coeur d'Alene and Power City Electric in the amount of $34,250.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other thoughts, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
And here's one of our favorite things, stormwater, with Chris Bosley all the way from the shops out there on, where is that?
Let's see, which one's stormwater?
Kathleen. Chris, welcome.
All right, thank you. So today, my first item coming before you is to ask for approval of an agreement with ITD for us to install, wait, this is the wrong one, I'm sorry. I've got the wrong one pulled up. Good start here. All right.
Don't be nervous.
Here we go. Start over. So I'm asking you for approval of an agreement with ITD for the City of Coeur d'Alene, our stormwater utility, to perform some stormwater construction work. And what that is ITD, as you know, is going to be reconstructing this curve here. They call it the lacrosse project because lacrosse is really up here at the top of the page. But they're reconstructing this curve, and when they do that, I pulled up the layer here to show you. We have a stormwater main that runs right next to US 95, and then it comes down here and outfalls into the river. And our goal here is to, at this time, put a pipe across 95 and dead-end it over here into this grassy area where we envision the construction of a swale in the future. But before we construct that swale, we need to do some modeling to see how much capacity we need, how much is flowing in there, and all of that. But because this project is moving forward with ITD, we need to get the pipe in the ground first before we can do any of it. And so what I'm asking is just for approval of this agreement so that we can go out there and install this stuff ahead of time, and then when ITD's done with their project, we can look at what kind of swale system we can build in that area. So I would stand for any questions you have.
I have one. So are they going to pump that water, that swale water, into our pipe at some point?
No, they have a separate stormwater system that they are putting right in that area as well, collecting their own stormwater. This comes from the neighborhood that's south of the cemetery up there to the east of 95. on Government Way. That whole area all drains to this point. And so we found an opportunity to grab that water and put it into a swale. And if there's enough swale area there and all the conditions are right, then we can take that outfall offline. So that's our hope there. If not, we can always meter how much water is going just to reduce the amount, but our ultimate goal is to take the outfall completely offline.
That's awesome. So we're not adding to it?
No.
Okay. Question?
Oh, just curious, so is the pipe under the Highway 95 there? I mean, you would punch over to the swale.
Correct. We would have to, at night, go in and install that pipe to get underneath and then cover it back up again so that they can resume use of 95 and then finish their project.
Okay, so it's not one of those things where they could do without cutting up the road and just kind of bore through, or?
No, I think we'd be in for a pretty difficult project there.
Okay.
And so this isn't something that can be done in conjunction with what ITD does their work?
Well, that was our first proposal to them, but they wanted us to kind of be out of the way rather than couple it with their project.
Okay.
They're pretty special, you know, and they're spending money.
Sometimes we can open up the dirt.
All right, no other questions. I'll look for a motion. Cheap shot, I'm sorry.
Well, I would move that the council approve the construction agreement with ITD for city stormwater infrastructure near the intersection of US 95 and Northwest Boulevard.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chris. Next, consent.
So my next item, do you want me to introduce this item?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My next item was the original display that I brought up. It's for the same project, and that's why the confusion there, but this one deals with a maintenance agreement with ITD. And this is pretty standard operating procedure with ITD, that we take care of sidewalks, we take care of side streets that abut US 95, and in this case, they're going to be doing some work at this intersection. This is the La Crosse US 95 project that I just spoke of. This was at Walnut, this intersection here, and that triangle, landscape triangle there, will be going away with new kind of curb extension looking things coming out here that will be seeded. And this display right here kind of shows what really is going to happen. This is one of their plan sheets. So that triangle is covered up by the road here, and now there's new areas for grass here. And so in this maintenance agreement, we used to have a maintenance agreement to take care of the landscaping in that triangle there. They're going to be removing all of that, and there will be new landscaping, but it's just a dry land grass seed that goes over to the east of it. But we will be responsible for maintaining that. So in discussions with Bill Greenwood of the Parks Department, he specified what kind of grass he wanted to go there so that it was easier to maintain. And so we're going with a dry land grass seed, which is much like what's in that swale area that I just talked about. And he maintains that, so he said that this is what he prefers. So this is what we've settled on. This maintenance agreement includes maintenance of those items as well as those side streets and the sidewalks that I just spoke of. So I'm asking for approval of this agreement so that ITD can move forward with this US 95 project.
So question, Dan? No? Geek?
Just one. In the center of that triangle, there's a monument rock.
Yes.
What's going to happen with that? It seems like that was donated to the city or something by a civic group, and what's going to happen with that?
There were two monuments in there,
Okay.
I believe. One of them, I believe, was a Rotary monument, and another one was a memorial for John Getty's daughter, I believe.
Okay.
And discussions have taken place with Parks Department as to finding new homes for those, and I believe that both of those have found new homes, but they won't be going there. at the newly located landscaping areas. But that
No.
was definitely a conversation with ITD for a while.
So they won't be going in this dryland grass, they're going to be somewhere else in the city, but not in this area?
That is
right?
my understanding, yes.
Okay.
I have a couple questions. So dryland grass, I seem to remember Northwest Boulevard when we did all that landscaping northwest the bridge over the freeway, and they put the wrong grass seed on there, and it's never been the same. So I would just give you guys a heads up, make sure you're getting what he wants. The other
Okay.
question was, when we have 95 all the way up and down, up and, all the way to Hayden, we don't maintain any of that right away. But we're going to maintain this right away. Is that something different, or am I mixing the wrong things together here?
Well, it's just this landscaped area and then the sidewalk, because ITD's policy is that they don't maintain sidewalks. Much like the trail along US 95 that has fallen into disrepair, and now they will be fixing that with an adjacent, well, sort of adjacent project, the Fast Lane project that I've come to talk to you about. With that project, they'll be reconstructing the trail and then giving that to the city to maintain at that point, because that is their policy that they do not maintain those.
So the sidewalk sort of triggers that.
Correct, yes.
So my question then would be is will the trail trigger that we have to take care of all the grasslands on 95? The big,
I don't know that yet.
okay, that's.
I will be looking for that, though, because I don't want to take care of it.
It's a big one. They only
Yeah.
do it once a year, but they do it. All right. That's all I got. Motion?
I'll make a motion that council approve the maintenance agreement with Idaho Transportation Department for US 95 improvements near La Crosse Avenue.
Second.
You made me hang out there. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Consent? Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
And with that, we say adieu. Adieu.
Okay.
Adieu.